All right, I'm sure by now we all know that Minnesota was able to close out that series with a win against the Warriors to win that series 4-1. And it has me thinking, well, for two things, right? Who won the trade between them and the Knicks? Because right now it looks like they both won. There hasn't been a drop off on either side. It looked like this was a deal right now that potentially benefited both sides. Julius Randle has been an amazing second option for Ant because he's the type of guy that when Ant doesn't have it, Julius can step up and be the number one that night at the same time, but he understands his place. He understands it's Ant's team, and then when Ant doesn't have it going, it can be my team some nights. And I feel like he's fully fine with that role. He's still having amazing production. He's still getting his amount of shot attempts that he needs to be effective, and it just looks like a duo that is really meshing well amongst each other. And then you have the New York Knicks. Their whole dynamic is thriving. Cat isn't necessarily thriving in the playoffs to the way that he probably could be, but it's still working out because they're on the verge potentially closing out Boston next game and potentially having a chance to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. So what more can you ask for? I feel both teams are probably happy with the deal that they did. Minnesota comes to more of a shocker because of the way they struggled in the regular season, but when it's counted in the playoffs, they've gotten the job done. And all I can do is tip my hat to them. Because then it has me thinking, say Minnesota's able to get to the NBA finals and win the whole thing. What does that do for Ant's legacy in terms of where he ranks amongst shooting guards? He would definitely have to be in the conversation as early as it is in his career. You'd have to put him in that top 10 all time off bat if he wins a championship this year. Some would argue you could maybe throw him in that top five. The undisputables, the people who you couldn't put Ant over is the obviously the D Wades, the Kobe's, the MJ's. Now when it comes to that AI and Harden, he gets a championship, it definitely becomes a conversation. Let's say Ant keeps this level of production up for another 4 or 5 years, has a chip on his resume, Finals MVP, multiple All Star appearances, All NBA. He'll have to be above them at that point. Not saying he is today, and even with a championship, it's still an argument because those guys have had long careers, and he definitely does have a ways to go before he's in that conversation legitimately. But I would say he definitely has a gunner's chance this year to potentially win an NBA championship because the door is wide open. So what he chooses to do with that opportunity, that's up to him. But I would say he does have a chance, and I'm curious to see what he's going to do with it. We'll see what happens.